The CCJ orders CLICO to pay up in a claim filed by policyholders. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Thursday, April 18. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Ricardo Roberts. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The judicial manager of CLICO International Life Insurance Limited, CLICO, has 10 days to pay more than 1.4 million EC dollars to two Dominican brothers who have been trying for years to cash in on their executive premium annuity policies. The Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, which handed down the ruling on Thursday morning, said if the money is not paid to Octavius John and Laurent John by that time, CLICO will end up having to shell out more since interest will be added. The insurance company was placed under judicial management 8 years ago, but the CCJ said the brothers had been trying before then to get the money owed to them once they surrendered the policies they had purchased to fund their retirement. The court heard that the brothers were forced to resort to the High Court of Dominica to recover the funds after CLICO kept stalling, and in September 2010 they obtained judgment in the sum of 1.42 million EC dollars plus interest. After further delay by CLICO, they obtained a consent order in February 2011 under which the insurance company undertook to pay 75,000 EC dollars monthly, but CLICO was placed under judicial management from April 14, 2011, and no payment was made to the two men. Delivering the unanimous decision of the CCJ on Thursday, Justice David Hayton said the court was satisfied the John brothers had made out a unique case to be paid.
Of significant weight to the court's ruling was that, one, the brothers were vigilant enough to do all they could to extract their money from CLICO before a realistic possibility of its collapse happened. Two, they obtained judgment in their favor and a court consent order for CLICO to make monthly payments satisfying the amount of the judgment debt. Three, CLICO's actions, of course, encouraged the brothers not to take steps to obtain a charging order over CLICO's property or a garnishing order over CLICO's income. Four, CLICO does not dispute the validity of the brothers' claims established under the Dominican judgment debt. And five, the brothers, who had actively done all they could to protect their interests, now find this is counted against them, making themselves worse off than the passive policyholders. This is because the judicial manager conceded in the hearing before the CCJ that it no longer ranked them as policyholders, having exchanged their policies for a judgment debt, but as mere ordinary unsecured creditors for whom no provision had been made under the plans of the judicial manager, so that their claims would not be addressed.
Rescue teams are searching for a French-registered private airplane that crashed in a densely forested area southwest of Dominica on Thursday morning. Initial reports had indicated that 4 people were on board the private Cessna plane that was traveling between the French islands of Martinique and Guadeloupe. But Chief Executive Officer of the Dominica Air and Seaport Authority, Benoit Badouli, subsequently confirmed that the pilot was the lone occupant of the aircraft. Speaking on DBS radio, he said that around 8:22 a.m. authorities in Guadeloupe indicated they had lost contact with a small aircraft about 6 miles off the Douglas Charles Airport in Dominica and needed help locating the plane. Badouli said Dominica needed helicopter assistance because the area the aircraft was believed to be located had very difficult terrain. He said neither the accident nor the search and rescue effort had affected air traffic in or out of Dominica.
It's not going to affect any travel because it's not within any of the routes in and out of Douglas Charles. As you know, Douglas Charles is more on the eastern side of the country, and the reported missing aircraft, based on the coordinates, is on the southwestern part, which is on the other side of Diablotin. So,
now, staying in Dominica, the island's Chief Magistrate, Candia Carriage George, has voiced her opposition to any plan to decriminalize marijuana. Several Caribbean countries, including Dominica, are debating whether or not to decriminalize the substance for medicinal and recreational purposes. But Carriage George says there are certain actions that need to be taken immediately if the authorities are to go to that route.
Main cases that we see children coming on before the courts over and over, it's really, I would say the leading ones are theft and possession of cannabis. Sad to say, a lot of our young people, especially the young men, believe that that's the fashion and that's the style, and if I don't smoke, I cannot relax. I know the country is having discussions on decriminalizing marijuana, but from what I see before me every day, I would never advise to go in that direction. If we were to go in that direction, I hope we are prepared to build a rehabilitation center, to expand our psychiatric units and all of these things. The lawyers and the people that smoke, I know some of the arguments would be that cannabis is a herb. It doesn't really affect anything. It's just a herb that relaxes. But it's a bad practice, and when it starts, what the drug dealers do, they want to sell more. So they put a little bit of crack or cocaine inside of the cannabis, and by the time the young people smoke it, they end up in psychiatric units, and their lives are spoiled forever. So we need to think of all these things.
A ban on the importation of styrofoam and selected plastic food containers will take effect in St. Lucia from June 1st. Sustainable Development Minister Dr. Gail Rigobert, who made the announcement, said the use of the items will be phased out over a one-year period ending May 31st next year. She said the phased ban will allow all stakeholders a chance to exhaust their current stock and to source environmentally friendly alternatives. Now, once the ban is in place, any styrofoam and selected plastic food service containers that are imported into the country will not be released by customs. Guyana's opposition People's Progressive Party, PPP, has confirmed that it contracted a public strategy firm in Washington, United States, to push its agenda there. Opposition leader Bara Jagdeo told a press conference on Wednesday that Mercury Public Affairs was paid $34 million Guyana dollars, which the PPP obtained from donors. He said the party's engagement with the public affairs strategist was not only about elections, but on ensuring the PPP has a voice so that institutions in Washington get a balanced view of what is happening in Guyana and not just hear from a Partnership for National Unity, the APNU coalition government.
On the campaign, it is about the advising on our presence in Washington and ensuring that our views are heard by the U.S. policymakers at every level. That is a critical part.
Jagdeo said the company was retained for a limited period, but the PPP would decide at the end of next month whether to extend the contract. Mercury has faced corruption allegations and been charged with and fined for ethics violations. But the opposition leader said the fact that it is still operating in the U.S. and is effective is sufficient for him. He said the PPP was satisfied with the firm's credentials and believes it will give the party a much-needed presence in Washington.
With Mercury Public Affairs. I've reviewed their work, they're very effective firm, and that's what we need, an effective firm to counter the lies being told by APNU in Washington. We're happy with the firm that we've recruited. We're happy that they're bipartisan firm. We're happy that this firm is effective, and we believe they will get the message out to Washington, which is one for free and fair elections as a universal value, and we believe that with their help we can counter their lies. That's the end of the matter.
Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, the representatives of Trinidad and Tobago's Hindu community under investigations for sedition. The details after the break.
But fire one bad attacking, and I tell us that 300K, that's a pocket money. Need a money counter for come money. IQ Music, so you know the real name on the bird paper, QN Campbell, understand? Spanish Town, born at Tamsupen, Pura Winterspen, reside in Angels right now, understand? Been to schools, Greendale Basic School, Christian Primary, then Ozemata Technical High School, you know, from there we decide, say, alright.
So we can add our onions to our oil. Salt to taste.
Secretary General of the Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha Satmaraj was on Friday being investigated for sedition on the heels of comments aired on a radio station earlier this week. Officers of Trinidad Special Investigations Unit on Friday executed a search warrant on the Hindu station Radio Jagrati to verify the authenticity of the audio clip and obtain a copy of the recording for further investigation. Now, the General Secretary Maharaj had referred to men in Tobago as lazy and rapists. The Telecommunications Authority of Trinidad and Tobago had written to him on the matter, warning him to watch his words, and Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley also took him to task at a public meeting. More in this report from CNC3 News.
At a political meeting on Tuesday in Barataria, Dr. Rowley, who was born in Mason Hall, labelled Maharaj unfit to lead and challenged others to speak out against him.
This time, I wait to see if there's anybody in the Hindu community brave enough or strong enough to stand on principle and tell Satmaraj, you are unfit to lead any part of the community in Trinidad and Tobago.
During a television program on Monday, Maharaj lambasted Tobagonians, calling them lazy and entitled.
They don't want to work. And when they get a job, they go 9:30 and 10 o'clock they go for breakfast. The rest of them able-bodied men, they don't want to work at all. Run crab race, run goat race, and go on the beach hunting for white meat.
THA Chief Secretary Kelvin Charles described Maharaj's comments as unpatriotic and disturbing, while PSA Watson Duke warned of a campaign of hate against the Mahasabha General Secretary if no apologies were issued. Meanwhile, Maharaj has promised to respond to the outpouring of condemnation at his own time.
Police in Jamaica are probing the murder of a 26-year-old man who was killed on Wednesday by a mob seeking vengeance for the murder of an 8-year-old girl whose body was found the day before. The group accused Miguel Williams of being involved in the murder of Stirling Castle Heights St. Andrew resident Shante Skyers. The man, whose relatives said suffers from a mental condition, was beaten by residents and set ablaze. Williams' brother spoke to TVJ News' Dwayne Anderson after his death, saying that the residents may have been right.
You don't think he would have done what they said he did?
Well, I never think so, but when I hear the story, I say, yeah, I'm involved.
What do you think, though? Do you think this is the right thing for the community to have taken the law into their own hand like that?
Well, yeah, I say that because if them never do that, he would have got jail and come back and do the same thing again. So I best way that me see it.
But Parliamentary Representative for the St. Andrew West Rural Constituency, Julius Cuthbert Flynn, condemned the killing.
This is what I was afraid of. We never want jungle justice. We know that the system is not perfect. But I know that we're working on that. And I think what I would have loved to see is for persons in the community or anywhere to wait on the process. Report what you know to the police and leave that in the police hands and not take it in your own hands.
Meantime, police say 2 people are in custody in connection with the girl's murder. And ahead in Newsline Sport, a Jamaican senator chosen to lead a Cricket West Indies task force on corporate governance reform. Stay with us. Sport is next.
It is my pleasure to invite you to the 2019 Answer Caribbean Awards ceremony. It is the first time that this event is being held here in Barbados.
I stand before you truly humbled to say that in being named Anthony Sabka Laureate for Excellence in Entrepreneurship, I have taken my first step on the road.
No honey, no best line, baby. Hope we'll see tomorrow. We needed some distance, honey. I hope you didn't straight line. Make you move. No more time to waste, boy. I better tomorrow. I better tomorrow. I better tomorrow. Better tomorrow.
Is there anything that you would like to see going forward, Dr. Laws?
Yes, I would love for us at the Ministry of Health and in terms of our national health system to sustain our response and maintain our elimination status.
Not get caught up in the euphoria and forget about.
No, I think this
is
is very important for us.
Cricket West Indies, CWI, has moved a step closer to implementing changes to its governance structure with the appointment of Jamaican Senator Don Weeby to lead a task force on corporate governance reform. In a release on Thursday, CWI explained its reasons for setting up the task force, saying that it will help ensure that the organization reforms its governance to achieve greater transparency and accountability to stakeholders. It comes 12 years after the partisan report which called for reform in the corporate governance structure of the regional cricket body. In this TVJ News report, we hear that CWI President Ricky Skerritt has also sought the services of JCA, or the Jamaica Cricket Board President Wilford Billy Heaven.
On a 10-point plan, which included the need for greater transparency and commitment, as he promised to adopt a leadership style entrenched in good governance, performance and principle. And in keeping with his mandate, Skerritt has turned to the JCA President, who will chair the board's finance committee.
Of course, my background, as you know, is accounts and finance and risk management. So anything along my strength, I'm always prepared to do it. I want to make the point, though, that I'm not doing it for Billy Heaven. I'm doing it for the sake of CWI. And if my skills and my expertise are so recognized, then I'll be happy to serve.
The board has also sought the service of Grace Kennedy CEO Don Webby, who will head the task force on corporate governance.
In the previous, before I was the chairman of the Audit, Risk and Compliance Committee, a corporate governance committee was formed specifically to look at 5 reports to see how we can implement those recommendations. So, you know, the partisan report, the Wilkins report, and there are others. So we, at that time, engaged PricewaterhouseCoopers, and they did a pretty good report. Based on the briefing that I got from the new president, not much was done in terms of implementation. So he has asked me to chair the Corporate Governance Committee to ensure that the recommendations of these reports are implemented.
One of the areas the task force may investigate is the spending of the previous administration.
The terms of reference has not been finalized. My main task at the start is to look at all the reports that were previously done to strengthen the governance structure, and then we'll take it from there. You know, because I can share with you, when Pricewaterhouse did this study, which is we had agreed that it was going to be an independent study by independent directors, which I chaired at the time, there were some findings in that report, the consolidated report, that the implementation of these recommendations were relatively low.
During his visit, Skerritt also had a meeting at the University of the West Indies to discuss the reopening of the High Performance Centre.
Still in cricket now, marquee batsman Darren Bravo says West Indies will not be overawed by their opposition at the upcoming ICC World Cup in England, but will be focusing on executing their unique brand of cricket. The two-time World Cup champions are not among the favourites for the May 30th to July 40th tournament, largely due to their lowly number 9 ranking, with hosts and world number 1 England the hot favourites.
To be honest, most of the teams are very quality teams, but having said that, when we played against England, no one actually gave us a chance. So I think as long as we concentrate on what it is we have to do as a team, I think that is the most important thing. Don't really want to focus too much on your position. You have certain plans and certain roles you really want to execute, and I believe as long as we do that, I guess the results will take care of itself. As I said previously, no one gave us a chance against England, and we went out there and we proved that we can be the best team in the world. So we just have to go out there and continue believing in ourselves as much as possible.
Bravo is part of the West Indies 14-man squad preparing for the Tour of Ireland, which runs from May 3rd to 17th in Dublin, Ireland. They will clash with the hosts and Bangladesh in the Triangular Series. The camp is being overseen by new interim head coach Floyd Reefer, who was appointed last week. The experienced Bravo said he is making the most of the preparation, especially with former Test batsman Ramneri Sarwan playing a key role with the batting group.
Basically, the coach will outline exactly what it is he wants from us. We are trying to sort of come up with our brand of cricket that we want to play moving forward. The guys have been working on the technical game as much as possible. Now we have Sarwan as he came in for a couple of days to help us with our batting, and we've been working tremendously well with us. I had a couple of sessions with him, so far so good. Hopefully he will be here, or hopefully he will be with us moving forward to Ireland and stuff like that, because I believe with a young batting team like this, someone of Sarwan's stature, Sarwan credibility will be meaningful to us as a batting unit. So we'll see how things go, but so far so good. The camp has been going well, a lot of hard work, fitness-wise and otherwise, and we're really enjoying it.
To the women's game now, West Indies selectors have named Hayley Matthews and Stacey Ann King in a 14-member West Indies women's squad that will tour Ireland and England from May 21st to June 26th. Matthews will return to the squad following an injury she sustained during the World Women's Big Bash in Australia last December. Now, the injury had forced her to miss the recent West Indies Women's Series against Pakistan in Karachi and Dubai. King is returning to international cricket after an almost 3-year hiatus. She has not been in the maroon colours since the home series against England in 2016. Interim chairman of selectors Robert Haynes was quoted as saying that King's return to the West Indies women's team is no real surprise after her performance during the recently concluded Colonial Medical Insurance Women's Super 50 Cup and CWI's T20 Blaze tournaments. The 14-member squad, along with 6 reserve players, will assemble in Antigua from May 6th to 20th for a training camp before departing for Ireland from Antigua on May 21st. The West Indies women will play Ireland in 3 T20 internationals on May 26th, 28th and 29th. They then play England in 3 one-day internationals as part of the ICC Women's Championships on June 6th, 9th and 13th, and 3 T20 internationals on June 18th, 21st and 25th. Switching sports now, the region's top under-20 high jumper is setting sights on a Carifta Gold when the regional tournament kicks off this weekend in the Cayman Islands. Cayman 27's Jordan Armani spoke with Luis Gordon, who completed a successful season in Jamaica.
All right, now this Carifta means a lot to me. Coming off of the champs high, everything, hopefully I'm able to capture a medal, first Carifta medal. Me being able to do it in Cayman at least, it would mean the greater world to me.
18-year-old high jumper Louis Gordon wants to go out on top. After spending the better part of 2 years at Jamaica's Kingston College, his journey has come full circle, with one last chance to prove his decision to leave for greener pastures was the right one.
Me leaving from Cayman to Jamaica was a big step in terms of me just being able to be competitive in the whole Caribbean, being able to train amongst the best, compete amongst the best, has really pushed me, just in able to be able to have this chance now to be able to be in a position to get a goal at the CaribVision Games.
And the proof, as they say, is in the pudding. Gordon is currently the top high jumper in the region, having become just the second Caymanian to win a Class A individual gold medal at the Jamaican Championships as part of Kingston College's first boys title in 10 years. A level of competition he says he would have never achieved without leaving Cayman's small talent pool, which lacked both competition and a structure he desired.
Once you're away and you're competing with greats, then, you know, it's going to always push you to be better. Training programs, different, strict rules, stuff like that. Discipline. Being able to be disciplined, once you're among all the greatness, then it's going to be bound for you to be great as well.
The move, he says, paid off almost immediately.
3 years ago, the height 190, I was stuck at 190. And being able, with my coach in Jamaica, from 190 to 213 in the span of 2 to 3 years.
And to think Gordon didn't even consider track and field until one life-changing phys ed class at Boddentown Primary.
And that's the sports. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It is my pleasure to invite you to the 2019 Answer Caribbean Awards ceremony. It is the first time that this event is being held here in Barbados.
I stand before you truly humbled to say that in being named Anthony Sabga Laureate for Excellence in Entrepreneurship, I have taken my first step on the road.
Before the start of the main event, we'll be kicking off with a unique warm-up event, the Commentators' Cup. Our 3 commentators and our roving reporter will be battling it out in the North Wales wave pool. 3 waves each, best single wave wins.
How do you high C?
Too late for that, mate. That will be the first scoring wave of the day.
Again, the major developments of this day, the CCJ orders CLICO to pay more than 1.4 million EC dollars in a claim filed by policyholders. And in sports, Jamaican sensation Don Weeby chosen to lead Cricket West Indies task force on corporate governance reform. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports round the clock, log on to CaribVision.com. For more of our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and check out our YouTube channel. We'll be back here again on Tuesday, but from all of us at CMC News, have a safe and blessed Easter. Thank you for watching. Have yourselves a good night.